Back of the net, where it matters.
Here are the main news stories in the Bostik League. Leatherhead bow out of the FA Cup despite a valiant display against League 2 side Wycombe Wanderers. Jack Midson took an early lead for Leatherhead through a penalty, but eventually Gareth Ainsworth's side eventually beat Sammy Moore's side 3-1 to confirm their place in the third round. Hereford, AFC Fylde, Woking and Slough Town are the last remaining non-league teams in the pot, which is taking place as we speak. Guernsey are looking for a brand new striker as talismanic forward Ross Allen will be leaving the Channel Island club and heading to New Zealand. 30-year-old Allen scored 239 times in 226 appearances, leaving Tony Vant a massive gap to fill as they hope to improve their position in the Bostik South. They're currently 16th in the league as we speak. There have been a number of departures in the Bostik Premier League, starting off with Enfield Town. Rob Bartley and Elliot Benyon have left the club, and Harley Haag, who is a recent signing, has joined Cheshunt on loan in the Bostik North. Moving to South London and Tooting and Mitcham, Kyle Merson has joined Ollie Bennett and headed to Whiteleaf. Sandy Cunningham and Tini Odobawale has also left the club. Kevin McLaren could become a K's player as he's looking to join Kingstonian, and veteran forward Billy Dunn has also left Tooting and Mitcham after failing to regain his fitness in the third spell for the club. Kingstonian have also had a number of players leave as well. Aaron Good, who made over 300 appearances, has also left. Claudio Vilcu and Tom Collins have also departed the K's, having made 34 appearances in this season so far. And finally, there has been one addition for the K's, with Paul Rogers, who was formerly on loan from Chelmsford City, signing a permanent deal.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the Net, where it matters.
So, a very good evening and welcome to the show on this Monday night. A new temporary home for us this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Loads to get through tonight between now and 9 o'clock. We're delighted to say that in the studio we've got Mick Sullivan, Dom DePaolo and James Cummins, the football pundits, to go through all of the Bostik and non-league action this evening. We're going to round up this week's Bostik league action from the weekend. Plenty happening at the top and bottom of the table. We're also going to have a look tonight at squad rotation and ask the question, does it work, and how effectively do managers use their rotations? We're going to look at loan signings as well, and we're going to launch a big debate into ticket pricing in non-league football. Get involved the usual way. It's official BOTN across social media. Loads to come between now and 9 o'clock.
Your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the Net, where it matters.
So delighted to be here on a Monday night in our new studios. Mick Sullivan, first of all, very good evening to you. You're fresh from the Leatherhead Wycombe game yesterday, and it must have been a hell of a day for somebody who we know Leatherhead's so close to the heart of.
Hell of a day, but obviously we'll talk a little bit more during the show about that. Fantastic, loving it. Seen so many tweets out there today, Facebook stuff, and it's put Leatherhead on the map, and they gave a good account of themselves, let's say.
Dom DePaolo also in our punditry team tonight. Dom, thanks for joining us, and you must have been keeping a little bit of an eye on that game yesterday, being a local and a Bostik team.
Yes, it looked like they did well. It looked like the supporters had a great day out, which is part of the main thing, really, I suppose, when you're up against the league side. So yeah, fair play to him. It looked like a good one. It looked like Mick was having fun.
I sure was.
And James Cummins joins us as well, and James will talk a little bit more about the game a little bit later on. But fantastic for Bostik football, non-league football, to see Leatherhead going up against League 2 Wycombe, and they did give a good account of themselves.
They certainly did. They lots of times it was trying to see which club was the actual league side really in the game, and Sammy Moore and Jack Midson can take a lot of pride in their performance yesterday, and absolutely massive advert for Bostik League football on a bigger stage. It was a great performance from the Tanners yesterday.
Yeah, we will talk more about that game a little bit later on tonight. We'll get the guys' thoughts on it as well. Lots for Leatherhead to do in the league, by the way, as they've got quite a few games in hand, as you'd imagine, after a cup competition. But first of all, let's go around the Bostik leagues and find out what's been happening this weekend. So Billericay Town closed the gap at the top of the Bostik Premier Division to just 3 points and increased their goal advantage over Dulwich Hamlet to 10 after a 4-0 win over Leiston. It was a better day for fellow Suffolk side Lowestoft Town as they put 5 past Tooting and Mitcham United. Both Sam Bora and Sean Bamant scored twice. The KNK Stadium saw 7 goals inside 45 minutes, the first coming shortly before the whistle, with 6 following after the interval. Hendon reclaim a playoff position with a 4-1 win over Thurrock. Nico Muir found the net twice to increase his goal tally to 17. AFC Hornchurch moved 4 points clear at the top of the Bostik North table on Saturday after they beat Battling AFC Sudbury 1-0, while second place at Dereham Town were held to a 2-2 draw at Aveley. Points were halved at the bottom of the Bostik North between Ware and Norwich United, with their goalless draw benefiting Cheshunt the most, who were sandwiched in between them in 22nd. Despite entering half-time with a 2-goal cushion, Chipstead had the ultimate half-time comeback and won 3-2 against title-chasing Corinthian Casuals. Absolutely fantastic result for them at the weekend. Top spot Lewis share the points with 5th-placed Greenwich Borough, and 3rd-placed Carshalton Athletic share the points with 4th-placed Cray Wanderers. All those teams scored at least once. Ashford United widened the gap between themselves and 24th place Shoreham with an emphatic 4-1 win over Thamesmead United. The Musclemen are rooted to the bottom with only 3 points following a 6-point deduction and a 1-1 draw with Molesey. Around non-league in the Evo Stick League South title, is it really over already? Bashford United's 5-0 thrashing of 4th bottom Kidsgrove Athletics saw Nottinghamshire side lead the table by a massive 15 points after Saturday's games. South Shields are also now 4 points clear at the top of the Evo Stick League North table, and they still have games in hand on most of those teams around them. They won 3-1 at Ramsbottom United on Saturday. Salford are 9 points clear at the top of the Vanarama North table after recording a hard-fought 1-0 win at Croft Park against fellow promotion chasers Blythe Spartans on Saturday. In the FA Cup, Woking put their name in the hat for the 3rd round with an equalising goal coming from Joe Ward on 83 minutes to take the League One Peterborough to a replay. Non-league teams joining them in the draw tonight are Hereford, who held Fleetwood to a 1-1 draw, and AFC Flyde, who found an equaliser on 70 minutes to earn a replay against 2013 winners Wigan. And finally, Hawley Town reached round 4 of the FA Vase for the first time in the club's history after defeating Baffin Milton Rovers 4-1, and they have today found out that they will play Chichester at home in the final 32. So plenty going on around the Bostik leagues and around non-league football. We'll have to ask you, James, about Woking stealing that last-minute equaliser. They are in the hat tonight.
They are indeed. I'm looking at ball number 45 in the draw, which is going to take place in the next couple of minutes, but a fantastic performance from Woking against a very, very difficult Peterborough side. We played extremely well for the majority of the game, and we were unlucky not to win it, especially in the last part of the game where Joe Ward hit the crossbar. It was a heart and mouth moment because I was watching it on BBC through Final Score and I thought it'd gone in. But no, credit to all the boys, and a great job Anthony's done, and looking forward to seeing who potentially we might have if we beat Peterborough in the 3rd round.
Yeah, the FA Cup 3rd round draw happening in the next 10 minutes or so, and we'll have full coverage of that draw in the 8 o'clock news that James will be doing as well. Now, this is a good point in the show, Mick, to talk all about yesterday's game with Leatherhead, of course, beat Billericay in the last round. They went up against Wickham yesterday, and tell us about the experience of being at the game.
Well, it's a fantastic experience, walking in there, seeing plenty of people I haven't seen in many a year. They all turn up, and what was really pleasing was I talked to a couple of a Sutton supporter, a Corinthian Casual supporter, so it sort of brought the non-league teams all together under one banner on a day, and I suspect there were probably other supporters supporting Leatherhead on that day that support other local clubs in our own league. So that was really, really interesting for me to know that the non-league, how can I put it, family were together, and we sang together, and I made a point of standing right by the big Leatherhead flag, and I gave it me all, and it was a thoroughly enjoyable day. Game of 2 halves, in all honesty. I thought Leatherhead took that first half and played very, very well. The second half, I think Wickham had a bit of a kick up the backside, that stay at half time and come out, and it was pretty much down Leatherhead's end. But when Sammy went off, I think you could see that was probably going to be curtains for us. But, fantastic performance from all the players out there. They gave it their all. And, and what was really good was, I think it's Gareth Ainsworth, is that his name? He come up and actually applauded the Leatherhead end, and I thought that was a good gesture from that league club.
Tell us about the sending off. What point of the game, and did it make a difference when Sammy Moore was sent off? Of course it will make a difference. Massive difference,
obviously. Disappointing. Sammy would be really disappointed. I'd love to find out. Maybe someone might be able to tell us exactly what he might have said to that linesman in his ear. We can only say maybe guess what might was said. And he's a big figure in that team, and the referee was a bit officious, and I think he was a little bit biased towards the League Two side, in my opinion. And once Sammy went off, you could see it was going to be a long way back. And there's 20 minutes to go, and we nearly lost 2-1. But Afeni, who we were giving a lot of stick to the whole game, went and put a header in the 91st minute and sealed it. But great day.
And if you're a Leatherhead fan, of course, get in touch with the show official BOTM. We can get you on to have a talk about it. I'm sure Mick Sullivan won't complain if we talk about it anymore. Dom, fantastic for Leatherhead to do that. How might that affect their league form? They've slipped down the table since they started quite well. They've obviously been concentrating on the cup. Is it difficult as a manager to concentrate on both?
I think you see it every year. I think South Park had it last year when they got through a few rounds in the trophy. It's just hard when you're playing catch up. Even if you're picking up the wins, it feels like you're a distance away from the boys at the top. I think Leatherhead are one of them teams. Mick's probably seen them a bit more than me, but whenever I watch them, I think they'd do better against the better sides, against sides from further up the pyramid, because of the way they play. They play like a pro side. They've got a lot of they've got a lot of pedigree in that team, haven't they? And if you watch them, I think sometimes I've seen them 3 times this year, and I think when they play against the better sides, I think they can express themselves and play the way they, with a bit more space maybe. Teams sitting them off them a little bit. So the test will be now with the bad pitches. Coming up sides who want a battle and a war, making up those games will be tough, I think. But for me, I think they're one of the top 3 or 4 I've seen in that league this year.
And they've got a local derby coming up in a week's time when they play Dorking Wanderers, which will be a feisty game. For Leatherhead, really important that their season isn't just remembered for reaching the FA Cup second round.
Of course not, but my worries, whether you want to call me a pundit or whether you want to call me a sort of closet supporter of Leatherhead, but I do worry that they've kept the continuity going within this cup competition of pretty much a strong starting 11. Obviously, they got Liam Nash, who's a quality forward. They got on loan from Gillingham, who's doing the business, but he's cup tied. But I do worry, and I'm not doing injustice to those boys that are sitting on the bench. Have they got that quality in depth to take over the likes of Sammy Moore and the likes of Jack Midson up top, and even Lee at the back? Some experienced players. I'm not so sure whether you take 2 or 3 of those boys out and injuries and how the pitch is. That's my worry, whether they can replace that quality that undoubtedly is going to tell, because they're playing so many games.
The depth might not be there in that squad. They got a great 11, haven't they?
Oh, totally. And I'm not doing injustice. Maybe some of those boys sitting on the bench I don't know well will do a job, but I just feel you can't replace that league quality, and ultimately they're going to need breathers. They're not getting any younger, those lads.
Let's turn our attention to the Bostik Premier Division. We mentioned in the roundup that Billericay have closed the gap at the top to just 3 points, and of course they've got those games in hand. We talked a lot this season, Dom, about Billericay, clear favourites to win it, with the money, etc. When you look at the gap and the games in hand, even though managers would prefer to have the points on the board, those 5 games are an awful lot with just a 3-point gap.
I don't think it's a concern for them. With they've got 24, 25 players. They got lads there. When you talk about rotation, they can rest people, and they've just got quality in depth. They've got different ways of playing. They've got different types of forwards. I don't think it's an issue. I think they'll have it wrapped up pretty early doors. Anyone in that league is a bit disappointing maybe this season if you wanted to challenge. I think Dulwich have done well, and 1 or 2 others have done well up there. But I think with what they've got in the locker, then I don't think it's going to make too much difference. The fact that they're playing a bit of a catch up.
And we'll preview their game next weekend a little bit later on in the show, because they take on Staines Town, who are in really good form as well, that sit one place behind them in third place. AFC Hornchurch, they've moved 4 points clear. Worth a mention in the Bostik North. We saw them earlier on in the season, Mick, and they're a really decent outfit as well.
Yeah, they were my tip at the start of the season to win that league. They're pretty much, not in the Billericay market from a financial perspective, but they have got some tidy players in abundance. But I noticed they've lost Martin Toy this week to, I think, Barking. So that is probably, he's a quality forward that's been sitting there, but obviously wants games, so he's moved on. But yeah, good side, Ben. We saw him in the midweek, and was it against Malden and Tiptree, also another good Bostik North side. So yeah, as we talk about that Bostik North section, which I'm getting to learn more about, is definitely getting as good or as good as the South now.
And when you talk about the South as well, big weekend in that division. Chipstead, Corinthian Casuals, a hell of a game that seemed to be.
Well, obviously know all of them for both parties. I'm really pleased for Anthony Williams, and I think we noticed a turn in their form when we covered them against Carshalton. They were pretty unlucky on that night to have lost that game, even though Carshalton played very well. But Anthony's added quite a lot of quality that have just come about. Lucky enough, people like Sam Page have just come out of the blue, and if you know the right people, you can get at them quickly. And he's just joined them, so yeah, they've got good experience, good wingers, and they hold their own in that league this year.
I think they should be higher, to be fair, in the table. When we've played them twice, we kindly gave them their first win of the season, which was good of us. But I think they've got a lot of quality, and I think they should be higher in comparison to some of the teams round them. Like Mitch just said, their wingers are strong. They've got a good target man. I think Penny's there at the moment.
Yep,
Got Sam Page gone in at the back. I think they should kick right on in our league, in my opinion.
And the other game at the top was, of course, Carshalton Athletic against Cray Wanderers. Worth a mention, both those teams as well play a really exciting and attractive style of football. I'm sure it would have been a really good game there. Finished 1 apiece.
Well, whoever the stat man must have been on that game how many completed passes would be very interesting to find out. It's probably a game of the most overpassed game you're ever likely to watch.
And across the rest of non-league, James, there are a few teams that we mentioned that are running away with the titles. Bashford United, South Shields and Salford City doing particularly well in their respective divisions.
They're doing very well in their respective divisions, beg your pardon. South Shields doesn't surprise me, to be honest, seeing the way that they've played firsthand. I'm lucky enough to see them in the FA Vars, and they're a team of real quality, so it doesn't really surprise me that they're running away with it. The same can be said for Salford City. Again, a team which has got well-known backing, and they haven't just sat on their laurels by the fact they've got famous investment. They've actually spent the money well with the players that they've bought in, and unsurprisingly they're doing very well in their leagues. So Salford City, I wouldn't be too surprised they do something very similar to AFC Wimbledon, and they rise through the leagues and end up a Football League club in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I'm sure they will get themselves into the football leagues in the next couple of years. Right, we're going to do the non-league football quiz now. It's one of our favourite things on the show. Dom, you had a go at this before, didn't you, a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
How did you? I can't remember how you got on.
4 out of 5.
Okay, right, so pretty well.
You sure?
Yeah, FA Cup.
Right, let's get into the non-league football quiz then.
Join in with the biggest non-league football quiz in the country. Tweet your answers to @officialBOTN.
Okay, so we've all got pen and paper. We've got 3 playing today. James, Mick and Dom, of course. Let's get going with the questions.
Question 1.
Dulwich Hamlet suffered a first away league defeat this season and a first ever defeat to which team on Saturday? First question tonight.
Can you repeat that?
So Dulwich Hamlet suffered a first away league defeat this season and a first ever defeat to a team on Saturday.
Question 2.
Out of the following clubs, whose logo includes 6 stars, 2 dogs and a crown? AFC Hornchurch, Needham Market or Staines Town? So out of the following clubs, whose logo includes 6 stars, 2 dogs and a crown? AFC Hornchurch, Needham Market or Staines Town are your choices. Be really interested to see which one you got. Official BOTN across social media if you want to have a go with these.
Question 3.
There are only 2 teams across the 3 Bostik divisions who are level on matches played, matches won, matches drawn and matches lost, goal difference and points. Both teams play in the Bostik Premier and are positioned 10th and 11th on 27 points. Can you name them? So there are only 2 teams across the 3 Bostik divisions who are level on matches played, matches won, matches drawn, lost, goal difference and points. And both teams play in the Bostik Premier and they're positioned 10th and 11th on 27 points. Can you name 2 teams? We'll give you a point for each team that you name.
Question 4.
Name the 3 non-league teams Sky Sports commentator Martin Tyler has coached for. The 3 non-league teams that Sky Sports commentator Martin Tyler has coached for. Mick just covering up his answers to make sure Dom doesn't steal any points off of him.
Question 5.
Michael Power is the current top scorer of the Bostik South after netting 13 times. However, which team does he play for? Michael Power, not Parrott. Michael Power is the current top scorer of the Bostik South. He scored 13 times. But which team...
Got 10 of them against us.
...does he play for? Let us know your answers. Official BOTN, and we'll be back with those answers after this.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page One journey today with a free online health check by visiting promoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers, and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Are you a budding footballer sitting your GCSEs next summer, wondering what to do next? Want to play football while studying for qualifications that will get you into university? Dorking Wanderers Football Club are now recruiting for their football academy for 2018-2019. Based at their brand new state-of-the-art Meadowbank Stadium, you'll be playing in the National Conference Youth Alliance against the best clubs in the area each week, as well as the prestigious FA Youth Cup. You'll be studying BTEC Level 3 qualifications, equivalent to 3 A-levels, alongside professional coaching from our UEFA qualified coaches. For information on trials and open evenings, visit dorkingwanderers.com/academy or email academy@dorkingwanderers.com.
Head to backofthenetsouth.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the Net, where it matters.
So welcome back to the show tonight. We've just done the non-league football quiz. Some good questions in there. Going to be interesting to see how everybody got on in the studio. And of course, official BOTN if you want to let us know how you got on. Right, let's get the non-league quiz questions on.
Non-league football quiz. Question 1.
Dulwich Hamlet suffered a first away league defeat this season and a first ever defeat to who on Saturday, James?
Enfield Town.
Mick, who did you get?
Enfield Town.
Enfield.
Everybody got Enfield. It was Enfield Town.
Question 2.
Out of the following clubs, whose logo includes 6 stars, 2 dogs, and a crown? AFC Hornchurch, Needham Market, or Staines Town? What do we get, James?
I went for a stab in the dark because I've seen a lot of their work on social media recently through Instagram, so I went for a total stab. I went Needham Market.
And Mick?
Well, I did have Needham. I crossed them out because I started thinking, I think I might have saw some stars on the Hornchurch shirt, so I've changed it to Hornchurch.
I went with Needham, pure guess, because I've never even seen that. I don't even seen their kit.
Okay, well, I can tell you that James and Dom, you're right. It's Needham Market, 6 stars,
Changed it and,
2 dogs, and a crown. Staines Town has 1 dog and 2 swans. AFC Hornchurch has a cross in the crest with 3 poppies, a love heart, and a chicken side.
It's all
a
about
ram
the
head on
dogs.
top. So there we go.
Question 3.
There are only 2 teams across the 3 Bostik divisions who are level on matches played, 1 drawn, lost, goal difference and points. Both teams play in the Bostik Premier and position 10th and 11th on 27 points. But can you name them, James?
Again, I've gone for a bit of a stab in the dark with this one. One of the teams I've gone is Tunbridge Angels. And the other team I went for, which was totally random, I went for Merstham.
Dom?
Hendon, Brighton, Sea.
And Mick?
Interesting. Ooh. Kingstonian, Leiston.
Okay, so there's a point for each. I can tell you that it was Brightlingsea Regent and Tunbridge Angels.
Oh, yes! Come on.
Couple of points being given out there.
Yes!
Mick's having a bad night.
Question 4.
Name the 3 non-league teams Sky Sports commentator Martin Tyler has coached for. James, we seem to be kicking off for you tonight, so off you go.
Okay, I've got 3, even though I crossed one out originally, but I'm going to reinstate it again, so I'm going to go for the big 3. Hampton and Richmond, Walton Casuals, and Walton and Hersham.
Dom?
I went Walton, Hersham, Willesden, Hampton, but I put Casuals initially.
Did you? Ah. And
Mick?
Mick?
Woking, Hampton, and I know that he done Cobham many years ago. He's coached down Cobham. We might have to ask him in future. And Corinthian Casuals, if you want to put. So I'm wondering whether it's that Corinthian Casuals pure guess, but Cobham, I know he done some coaching down there.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with the answers on the sheet, and they are Hampton and Richmond Borough, Kingstonian, and Walton and Hersham. They're the points that are going to be given out tonight.
Oh, no. Wow.
Not a good one for you tonight, Mick.
Bad one. Bad
Question 5.
Michael Power is the current top scorer of the Bostik South after netting 13 times. However, which team does he play for, James?
I went for a random stab in the dark because it seemed like Power. I just went with a random Bostik South team, and I went for Cray Wanderers.
Got it right.
And,
Is it right?
It is
Yeah.
right, yeah, it's Cray Wanderers.
What?
Yeah. You
Get
got it.
in there.
Well done.
Okay,
What
Remy,
the fuck?
what were the scores like tonight?
Okay, in second place we've got Mick, and in joint first place we've got Dom and James. So we're going to
Well
come
done,
up with
mate,
a deciding question, and we'll come back to it.
Okay, we always have to have a winner on the non-league quiz, so we will come back to it. Official BOTN, if you want to let us know how you got on wherever you're playing along from tonight. Plenty more to come on the show between now and 9 o'clock. Right now, last week, Kingstonian announced that 3 of their players had been released. We heard it in the news. Aaron Good, Claudio Vilcu, and Tom Collins were the players to be released. And the question I want to pose tonight is it to be expected that this tier of football to have so many short-term players? And Mick, I'll come to you first. Is it
So many short-term players. They're a new management team going into a club that have had a load of established players that are probably underachieved, and they've just put their own stamp on it. And it's something probably I would have done very similar. They've brought a lot of players in. They need the players, particularly going into a new club, that they're comfortable to be around them, rather than people they don't quite know and doesn't know their style of football. And what's made it difficult for Lee and Koo is the fact that they've had to play in a cup competition, which has cup-tied a lot of their new players. So they've not been able to play the team that they've been wanting to play. So as I know Lee and Koo really well, I know their league season started from Saturday, which obviously I watched against Dorking. Bit of a ball draw personally. I didn't think it was the greatest game. But their season started there because that's the sort of team that they want to be putting out every week.
Well, we're just going to say that obviously looking at Kingstonian recent 3 games, starting 11 have only included 3 players consistently, and that includes the goalkeeper. Could possibly be put down, as you say, to being a new management team. If we broaden the question out though, Dom, short-term players in this division?
Without them, to be fair, this year we would have struggled to field sides at Horsham. We took 6. We've had 6 on loan this year. I've never been a big fan on loans, but we had a massive injury crisis in sort of end of August, all through September, and without the short-term players, I think we'd have massively struggled as a club with just one team. It's difficult. I mean, with the Kingstonian one, it may well be just down to the fact that I think didn't Craig go because of budget cuts? So are those higher earning players? I don't know. Maybe they want to free up a bit of cash. I don't know.
No, I don't think it's that. So, I don't think. I think I've got a little bit more inside knowledge on that one. I think the travelling was starting to get to Craig, and I'm sure there was a budget cut of some sorts, but nothing from what I heard, nowhere near as drastic as what it's been put. But you were on the right lines, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it could be anything really. I think it's hard. Some of the clubs, players jump around so much that you do end up having all sorts moving in and around your squads. Unless you can tie them up to contracts and things like that, then you're always prone to losing players at short notice, and then you have got to keep turning over players. The most successful sides at the top of the league are the ones that normally have a settled 16, but it's harder for the rest of us.
And if we broaden it out and look at maybe the cup competitions, Heybridge Swifts is a really good example. They've been great in the league, obviously, the games that they've played. The FA Cup, they've had FA Trophy, they've had Velocity Trophy. Their starting lineup, consistency-wise, when we look at it, they've had to make a lot of changes. Is that something that will just go hand in hand with a good cup runs? You'd have to use so many squad players.
Well, mix from a different generation, but I don't, with this league, I just find it relentless with the Saturday, Tuesdays before Christmas. I can't understand how 20 years ago that the same sort of 11, 12 players played every week, because we struggle. We pick up knocks. We have injuries, and we probably haven't got the same amount of games as successful sides. So I think it's massively important that you can switch things in and out.
The reason why I asked that is because Heybridge Swifts is a really good example of what perhaps can be done when you have maybe a bit of team spirit and togetherness, because their lineup is very, very consistent. Even though they've been involved in all those cup competitions, they've obviously taken them all very seriously, the FA Cup and the FA Trophy and now the league. And when you look down and you see the amount of players in each game, we're talking 7 or 8 players that remain the same. It's a hell of an effort over a certain period to keep those players in playing Saturday, Tuesday. Before we get your thoughts on that, we've got a couple of the Heybridge Swifts players that Remy spoke to yesterday and talked a little bit about the team spirit, togetherness, and how to keep the squad happy. And first of all, Remy spoke to Jack Cooley.
So we've got Jody, who's in charge of us. He's got a great knowledge of the game and his methods of winning games, and the way the football's played. It's good. Like he's got a great knowledge of how to win games, and the way he sets up in a lot of the games is good. When you're winning games, it's like the moral of the changing room. It's like it comes from inside the changing room. Like the moral of all the players is good. We're all good friends as well. So do you know what I mean? When you all want to succeed together, it's kind of everything kind of moves in the right direction. We're not like just friends like on the pitch. We're friends off the pitch, and we all want to do well for each other.
So as a player that's been there from previous season where it wasn't so well, over summer and now into this season, what has changed?
This year, I think the quality is better, and obviously you can tell that. Last year, Jody had quite a few problems, maybe with injuries, and some of the players that come in. But yeah, like now it's just everyone's very, very close. The moral is very high, so it's good.
And what is this season going to hold for Heybridge Swifts?
Well, I don't know. I think you can tell, like when there's a big build-up of games now, it just shows our success so far this season. Like I said, we've won a lot of cup games, haven't we? So that's why we've got a massive backlog of league games now. But obviously, what we wanted to do at the beginning of the season was to win the league and go up. Everything else on top of that was kind of, was a bonus.
Yeah, so you get the clear indication there of how that team spirit and what they want to achieve, which is massively important.
Huge, isn't it?
Totally. I mean, for my greatest successes is trying to keep that core 7 or 8 in the team week in, week out. And they might moan like Billy-O about it, that they want to have a breather, but I'm just a hungry manager that wants to win games of football, and the only way you're going to win games of football is keeping a consistency of at least a core 7 of 8, that team, and maybe you can swap 1, 2 or 3 on occasions just to mix it up a little bit and you'll get away with it. But you have to have a bit of luck on your side as well. You have to have that little bit of luck with the injuries, and Heybridge Swifts have had a lot of luck. The fact that they've not hit any big injuries, it sometimes happened. I got lucky at Leatherhead, but I didn't get a lot of injuries one year, and we done exceptionally well and we won stuff, and I think that's the core reason. Leatherhead are the same, you know what I mean? They've got a steady, good start 11, which we spoke about earlier in the show. It's just whether they can keep those they've got some older type players there that might take the knocks a little bit harder, and that might come and find them out, particularly as the pitches get heavier. And another thing to put in the mix, Ben, is these 3G pitches, whether they cause more injury on that side of it. And, looking at a prime example here where Horsham play on a 3G pitch, Dom's telling us he gets a load of injuries. I'm not saying it is 3G, but it doesn't help. And if you're training on 3G, it doesn't help. So all those sort of issues come into it.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be a big debate for another time. Also, one of those players that has played in the last 5 games is Luque. He's been instrumental in the FA Cup, in the FA Trophy, Velocity Trophy and the League, and Remy caught up with him yesterday as well.
For me, what Jody is doing, so he's doing a little bit of rotation. For example, it was 2 games of the SS Cup, I think, or some players is changing almost maybe 1 player every game, more or less. So all the people involved in the club or in the team, it's always with expecting that it's going to be in the team. So you never know if you're going to play or if you're not going to play. And I think it's important to have all the people thinking about it and no one disconnect his mind. You know what I mean?
A big topic in football is that there's fixture congestion and pile-ups, and some teams have to play 3 games in a week because they've had success in different competitions. For you, you're kind of in the pit of fixture congestion at the moment. You've played maybe 7 or 8 games fewer than most teams around you in the league. You've got a lot of competitions still quite open with the League Cup and the FA Trophy. So for you as a player, fixture congestion, tell me what you think about that.
We are all of us always with our minds in the game, Even you play 10 minutes, because maybe the next game you will be the 11. So it's good. So for me, I didn't like resting. I think no one. But we understand why Jody does the rotation. For example, now I think we have 34, 35 games still to finish the league, and we don't have time because it's December. So we are going to play again Tuesday, Saturday. So, for example, in my case, I'm not used to play more than 36 games, and I will be playing 60. So if I didn't rest sometime, for example, I'm gonna get injured. And I think even my teammates are used to play 40 or 45 or 48 games a season as well. They need to rest. So it's impossible to play 60 games without resting. It's impossible to always make a team with 100%, and then if someone is 70%, so rest, and then next game you are 100% again to be in the 11.
Back of the net, where it matters.
Yeah, really interesting points there, mentioning that if you give 100%, even if you come on at the end of the game, that's how you get yourself in to the squad. It's all about effort at Heybridge. Interesting that he brought that out.
I think when you're winning, it's pretty easy from a managerial point of view as well. You can keep people happy for coming on for 10 minutes because they look at a bigger picture. So I mean, when you're doing well, do you agree, Mick? I think when you do well, you're able to keep a squad pretty happy if you're having good success. The difficulty is when you get a backlog of games and you haven't got a huge amount to play for. All of a sudden, people start having a different approach to football.
And depending on how the game's going, Dom, they can see whether they're going to come on there, they're going to concede more goals. They can be clever, these players, and sort of say, you know what I mean? they can just not be keen to get on a game, and whether they give you some silly excuse as to why. But I've been through quite a lot of issues where we've had some hard times, and I've had some players not giving me great vibes. They want to be on that pitch. But you learn things as you go along as a manager. You learn from players like that. I've always been a great believer trying to get some youngsters on the bench that you can put on for those last 10-15 minutes. It would be chomping at the bit to want to get on for 10-15 minutes. It's more the old seasoned players that feel they should be starting, and you're going to put them on for 10 and 15. They think you're being disrespectful, and you get all those sort of little issues that crop up, which is all about man management, which you have to do behind the scenes, which is what many supporters don't realise, how much time it takes in speaking to players on the phone from work and all those pressures that go along with it. You know, it's just an unseen side of non-league football, like Dom has done, and like many managers I talk to. The amount of time that I used to be on the phone to players that were just moaning or whinging about certain things, and I'd have to spend half an hour on the phone during my working day with my bosses watching me what I was like to do, and it takes its toll. It takes its toll.
What was interesting from speaking to both of those players is that last season they survived the relegation by the skin of their teeth. It went down to the last day of the season. Jack he signed this time last year, so he experienced that, whereas Luque was brought in summer and was part of the rebuild. So both of them were like, just, it wasn't expected that they'd have all this success, and it's going forward. It's that they've had a taste of it, that they want to play every game. They're not bothered about having to play Tuesday, Saturday, because that momentum's now there, that spirit's now there. They never thought this would be the case. Of course, it's what every team wants, but to go from having nothing and almost being hung out to dry and out of the league, they've now gone on to, they're comfortable, they've got a 7-game advantage. I know there's a backlog, but they're still in the FA Trophy. They were knocked out of the League Cup by Billericay on penalties, so they matched the top of the Premier team. They held Exeter City to half time, level field there. So there's loads going on at that club that is more than just I might start if I can be bothered to. If we're winning, I'll put in a good shift. I think there's a really good sense of character down there.
Was Jody Brown the manager there for the whole of last season?
Jody Brown's been manager there for a while now. Yeah,
wow. So what a great turnaround. Yeah. Applaud him to bits on that.
I think he takes credit for motivating that team, and you hats off in that respect. If you've come from having a struggling season like last year, maybe a few changes, but the momentum and the confidence comes from the manager, and maybe a good pre-season. But fair play to him.
Dom, I've watched them, and watched them against Kingstonian. Obviously, I've watched them when they played Haringey. They're a together side, and they remind me like they could end up being the type of side which South Park remind me quite a lot about team togetherness, which I'm sure your South Park stick out like a million miles. You know what I mean? They haven't had greats at the moment. I don't think their pictures help them in going backlog on games, but they've got they've always had that togetherness, South Park, and I think definitely Haybridge Swifts come to mind what I've watched like that. Brighton Sea are in the same type of mode as well that I've watched these teams as they do the warm up, and I can pick a few teams that I think there's a togetherness just by watching body language and seeing the warm up.
Pros and cons of squad rotation. Interestingly, earlier this season, Burgess Hill dropped their qualifying round 3 man of the match in the FA Cup, and for the 4th round against Dartford, James Shaw earned the man of the match for his performance against Wealdstone, and they dropped him and they lost the game against Dartford. Just one of the examples to pick out, to talk about how can you justify changes and earning your place if you're man of the match in one round, get dropped in the next round. What are the pros and the cons?
Well, Dom probably might be a little bit better because he's obviously managing at this point. But I think James Shaw is a good, steady goalkeeper, but he's Marmite. He can have 2 or 3 good games and he go a couple of stinkers. And what you need from a goalkeeper is consistency. And, Chapman's, has dropped him, but sometimes, strength of character comes back. And obviously, is James back in the side now? Do we know?
It wasn't just James that was dropped for that game. Cheikh Toure, who scored the winner, he was also dropped. He was brought in on the 82nd minute against Dartford. So to win it for your team and then be dropped, it's a It's a punch in the gut, to say the least. These players, I think they should be starting. I did look at the form, and it was the week that we were at we saw them win 5-0 over Kingstonian. They then lost midweek 5-0 to Lowestoft Town, and then they had to play Dartford. So maybe it was, the league was going into that ahead of that tie. That was probably in the full frontal that, the goalkeeper has let in 5. But as a team, you let in 5. It's not just one man that's letting in those goals. So I think it's unfair, and I'd be very annoyed as a player. And I think for the fans as well, they'd have wanted to see that moment continue in the FA Cup, because you only get one chance at it.
You never know.
Friend of James, I think.
James played for me for a while, by the way. But no, I mean, the other thing that people don't see is the other side of it. There's so many factors. I get it all the time where the supporters come up to me and I can't get my head around why you haven't played him, or why have you taken him off for 15, 20 to go. And there's normally a reason, rightly or wrongly. Someone's carrying a bit of a knock or a bit of a confidence loss. I mean, the other keeper, if you're talking about James as an example, Max Huswick, he's a decent keeper, and they've been rotating it all season. I don't think Chappers has ever quite decided on one or the other. And I think, if there was a game in between where James has had one, I don't think he's really nailed his colours to the mast on either of those keepers. So there could be a factor there. I know Touré's now left and gone to Ashford, so there might be a bit of something behind the scenes. I don't know the lad, but there's usually something that from the outset that no one really sees going on behind the scenes. It's not normally just a random decision, or people just trying to make a statement. There's normally some sort of a thought process behind
some whinging. Anything could be going on behind the scenes.
There were some players brought in that week though as well, so I guess but to put your new players in, I don't know, it's up for debate, isn't it?
It might look harsh.
Another player, Billericay Town, if you look at them, they've obviously got a massive squad, and everyone goes on about the size of their squad. They took Sam Deering off, arguably their best player. He was subbed off when Billericay were 1-0 up against Leatherhead in the FA Cup, and he runs things in midfield for them. Again, perhaps a little bit of rotation. They had to play Merstham 2 days earlier. They needed, and Glenn Tamplin said they wanted to play that game because Dulwich were getting too far away. You take your best player off. I'm not saying that's the only reason they lost to Leatherhead. It's a bit disrespectful, but he went off and the game did change a little bit. Again, that side to rotation, it's difficult for a manager.
Bit of rotation, or maybe the manager at the time has seen something that we've not seen. And sometimes it comes back to backfire against you. I mean, I nearly cost us a game against Hive last Saturday with my subs. In my head, it made sense doing what I did, but hindsight's a great thing. I look back on it, and we were comfortable, and in doing what we did, our team dropped sort of 20 yards deeper. They put it on us a bit, and you sort of go home thinking, thankfully we got away with that one. So you can't win as a manager. You're trying to manage a process, and obviously they're playing in all sorts of competitions. And the league, if they don't go up for whatever reason, the league's a complete failure. That for a lot of these clubs, the FA Cup's the be all and end all. But Billericay over the next 3 or 4 years are going to have numerous opportunities to kick on in that FA Cup, and the league has got to be their priority because of the sort of dough they're chucking around and the ambitions of the club. So it may be that they've just completely prioritising the league and.
Well, can I just say, Mick, before you come in, I have to say with Billericay, the other example of the benefits of rotation, Jake Robinson scored 13 league goals and 5 hat-tricks across all competitions. Adam Cunnington scored 11 league goals, and Billy Bricknell has scored 8. So there is the other side of that club. Sorry, Mick.
Yeah, it's fine. I think it's a very good point. But also going back to that Billericay game, and it's an interesting question, which I'd love to know, who really does manage Billericay Football Club? Obviously, Harry Wheeler, and Glenn always speaks as Harry being his right-hand man, and they're together, they're named as joint managers, I gather. Who makes those decisions in those important games like that? I can only think Harry ain't going to start telling Glenn Tamlin with his football knowledge, look, Glenn, I think in such an important game, live on BT Sports, you know what I mean? Is he going to start telling sort of Glenn what to do at that time? I think maybe Glenn took the show over at that point and decided he wanted to railroad Leatherhead, and it wasn't to be on that night. We can all say if we left Sam Deering on and they played through the midfield a little bit more, they might have got better joy, but we will never know the answer to that question. We never know. We'll all have an opinion that maybe taking Sam off would have been a better route, because it was a bit one-dimensional from what I was watching. It was all a bit too Route 1 and playing in the hands of some experienced Leatherhead defenders there.
And talking of Leatherhead, Sammy Moore's another one. They struggle to win games without him in the midfield, and they're going to have to play a few games without him in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and I've got a very strong opinion about that. Yeah, definitely. I'm not so sure. I'm hoping Sammy, I definitely know his dad listens to us. The fact that when Sammy takes himself out of that team, sometimes he rests himself. They don't, in my mind, haven't got that ready-made replacement for him yet. They might get away with Jack Midson a little bit better because they've got Liam Nash now, which might score the goals when Jack ain't playing. But Sammy is such a niche position that he plays that he makes that whole team tick.
Oh, he definitely makes them tick.
So that is my big worry, and I really hope that they're looking for someone of that quality to come in there. And maybe let Sammy just take the odd game away to be a manager as well, because it's not so easy to be a player manager and you try and orchestrate things on the pitch. And who's going to make the big decisions? I've said this question a few times at Leatherhead, but who's going to make those big decisions on the bench when Sammy and Jack are playing? You know what I mean? Yes. Would it be Perry? Would it be? Sorry, the other assistant, the other guy they've got there. Sorry, go on.
Willard is his surname.
Oh, it might be. I don't know his name, but you have got a very influential chairman there, Richard Brady. I do wonder whether he might have the final say, because that is a difficult task for whoever's doing that to make some big decisions, and particularly when you think about their game live on TV. Who was making the big decisions that night about what? And you notice they don't make lots of subs, Leatherhead, and you do wonder whether someone's going to make a big decision to make that sub. Maybe they hold back making subs because of that.
Dom, go to your sort of last word on this. So for a manager, do you have a plan at the beginning of the season, perhaps when you can see the cup competitions, of this is my squad, these are the players that I'm going to use and try and bring in, these are going to be my main players, but I need to rest for this trophy, or is that something that just happens over the season?
I think it just happens. You have to see how your season pans out, and some people have great runs in the cups and do nothing in the league, and you can prioritise things differently, and vice versa. I think the hard one is like with Heybridge, by the looks of it, where they're doing well in everything. And South Park, like I said, I always go back to South Park last year, because for me they should have been in the playoffs. I thought they were a really good side last year, and I remember speaking to Malcolm after we played them quite just after Christmas, I think, and he was relatively comfortable and said, I think providing we don't get too many injuries, we should be able to make up make up the games, and then he got hit with injuries, and then his season sort of went the other way, really. So I think it just really does depend on how your season pans out and what you've got and what you want to prioritise as a football club.
James, it's no different at any level of football, I guess. This rotation debate goes on from Premier League downwards.
Almost certainly. I think rotation is a very important part of the game. I think more so for non-league as an example, because of course something which I don't think was mentioned with the debate was the fact that a lot of the players are part-time as well. You have to take that into consideration as well, that the players that are playing within this level, within the non-league, have other commitments as well.
Is that something that we do have to take into consideration? How does that affect selection, if you like?
Well, we've I don't know how many, what the situations at other clubs. We've got a lot of lads, we work trades, bricklayers, roofers and things like that. And we find, I don't know whether you had the same problems when, sometimes on a Tuesday night after a hard day's work, we do have to change it around last half an hour with some of these boys with their work. A few of them, like I said, are doing pretty manual work during the day, and I think there's all sorts of factors, and if you're not taking them into account, then you're not explaining some of the reasons why players dip in the last half an hour on a.
Interesting. It's interesting, Mick, isn't it? That whole rotation thing. We've talked about this now for the last 20 minutes, but that's again. You're nodding your head there as Dom's talking. Something you have to consider, even those finer details, that if someone's got a hard job, that perhaps you have to then restrict their game time.
Well, I'm so pleased that we brought this topic up for all the supporters that might be listening tonight, because I'm sure there's so many supporters don't think about that side of the game. As I said, I brought up what managers have to deal with away from match day in having players moaning and whinging, sorting out transfers, whereas all these professional clubs, League 1, 2 and that, they're all getting paid top money. This is a part-time job for us. I've never taken a penny in football from managing or anywhere I've ever been. I suspect you're probably pretty same, Tom. So we're not getting paid nothing. It's the players that get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So us as managers, a majority, I'd say, in the Bostik League probably don't take a penny. Might be wrong. There's a few that do, but there's a few that don't as well.
We'll continue this debate. If you've got any thoughts on it, it's official BOTN across social media. Plenty more to come on the show. We're going to talk all about ticket prices across non-league and trickling into the league as well. We're also going to talk a little bit tonight about loan signings, and we play our Super Sub game, as well as looking forward to next weekend. Plenty to come between now and 9 o'clock.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page One journey today with a free online health check by visiting PromoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Are you looking for a little bit more than a good meal at a pub? The Half Moon is a hidden gem located in the picturesque village of Charlwood on the Surrey-Sussex borders. Proud of old traditions, this old English pub offers tasty fresh food with locally sourced ingredients, comfortable dining and traditional bar area, as well as a lovely garden for your enjoyment. Evening with friends or lunch with family, whatever the occasion, you can expect our friendly and welcoming staff to help. Half Moon Charlwood. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming events and live music.
Need to refuel? Whether you're heading home or away, get ahead of the game and refuel at Dorking's Service Centre. Dorking's local retailer of quality BP fuel, Costa coffee and food to go. Find us at the traffic lights close to Dorking Halls or at dorkingservicecentre.com.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers, and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Head to backofthenetsouth.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the Net, where it matters. Get in touch on social media. Just search official BOTN.
The main news at 8 o'clock. Leatherhead bow out of the FA Cup second round despite a valiant display against League Two side Wycombe Wanderers. They took an early lead through a Jack Midson penalty, but Gareth Aylward's side pressed ahead and they managed to win 3-1 at Adams Park to book their place in the third round. The third round draw took place as we were on air, and there's been some very interesting ties which have come out of the bag. AFC Fylde, if they win their replay against Wigan, will have an away tie against AFC Bournemouth. Slough, who are playing against Rochdale at the moment, if they win, they have an away tie at Doncaster Rovers. Woking, if they beat Peterborough in their away replay, will travel to Villa Park for a fixture against Aston Villa. But all eyes will be on Hereford, the lowest ranked side in the competition so far. If they beat Fleetwood Town, they have a home tie against Leicester City. Going into further news, Guernsey are looking for a new striker as talismanic forward Ross Allen will be leaving the Channel Island club as he's moving to New Zealand. The 30-year-old Allen scored 239 times in 226 appearances, leaving boss Tony Vance with a massive gap to fill as they hope to improve their position in Bostik South. They're currently 16th in the table. There's been a couple of departures in the Bostik Premier League, starting off with Enfield Town. Rob Bartley and Elliot Benyoun have left the club, and Harley Haag, who was a recent signing for Enfield, has gone out on loan to Bostik Northside Cheshunt. Tooting and Mitcham have had a couple of players leave them. Carl Merson has joined Ollie Bennett at Whiteleaf, and Sandy Cunningham and Tini Adebawejo has left Tooting as well. Kevin McLaren could become a Kingstonian player, as it looks like he may be leaving Tooting and Mitcham, and veteran striker Billy Dunn has also left Frank Wilson's side after failing to regain his fitness in the third spell at his club. Moving on to Kingstonian, and Aaron Good has left the K's after making 304 appearances. Claudio Vicu and Tom Collins have also left the K's, having made 34 appearances between them, having recently signed for the club. Despite the departures, there has been one addition to the K's, and that is Paul Rogers, who was formerly on loan from Chelmsford City, has signed for the K's on a permanent deal.
Back of the net, where it matters.
So welcome back to the show. Mick Sullivan, Dom DePaolo and James Cummins and Remy Sylvester in the studio with us right now, talking everything Bostik and non-league football. Some interesting ties in the FA Cup for non-league teams, and I see you got Woking into the news, your team.
Yeah, very, very happy with that, to be fair. Lots of good ties with the non-league teams that are left. They're all looking really good. I've got my eye in particular on Hereford versus Leicester City. Of course, it just evokes 1972, doesn't it, with Ronnie Radford and Ricky George against Newcastle United. Hopefully, that'll be a massive game if Hereford beat Fleetwood Town. Of course, Slough, who at the moment who are playing against Rochdale, they're doing really well so far. Slough, Doncaster Rovers away, that'll be a great tie for them. AFC Fylde, they've got a tough game away at Wigan, but go to the Goldbanks Arena and they go to play Bournemouth. But Woking's game against Aston Villa, I'm really happy with that. Just need a good performance at London Road and we'll go and play Steve Bruce's side and hopefully win by 2-0.
Yeah, some really interesting draws. I think the draw of the round for all Premier League teams is Liverpool against Everton. Plenty more to come on the show. You've missed the quiz if you've just joined us, and you've also missed a big debate on squad rotation. Fortunately for you, though, you can listen again on YouTube. That'll be up from tomorrow evening, and do listen if you have missed the first hour. In the second hour, loads to come. We're going to talk all about loan signings. We've got a big debate on ticket prices as well between now and 9 o'clock. We're going to play our Super Sub game, which is a lot of fun, and we'll preview not only the midweek games, but we're also going to have a look at the Bostik League Show, a biggie next Saturday between Billericay and Staines Town. Now, the quiz that you did miss was a draw, so Remy's got a deciding question.
Okay, because Mick is excluded from this round because it's a tie break between James and Dom. My question is, to the closest 10, what was the attendance for Wycombe versus Leatherhead on Sunday?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's a hard one.
Or we could do closest 100. Whoever's closest, let's go for it. But I want reasonably close answers.
Okay, James, you go first. What do you think?
Okay, I know there was a big crowd from Leatherhead. I know there was a big following, rightly so, for the Tanners on Sunday. Adams Park is it's a biggish ground, isn't it? Because, of course, I'm trying to remember, Wasps played there, didn't they, until recently, because they moved to the Rico.
There's a lot of thought going into it. In the minute, we're going to...
There is. I'm trying to get the right... I'm trying to get the figure in my head.
There's a motorway, and it's the M4. It comes off like...
Chiltern Railways run through there to London Marylebone. No. Right, let's get off.
Near an estate. It's got really big stands.
Lots of hills in the background. Bit hilly.
James, answer. Let's go. Attendance.
4,800.
Dom?
4,801.
Oh, can I have a little go, just so if I'm close? I reckon there was 3,350, something like that.
I'd say 2.5, if I had to guess.
Luke, do you want to have a guess whilst we're at it?
Go on.
I've seen it. I know what it is.
James, Dara, anyone else?
No.
Go on, James.
3,500.
Okay, right, what was the answer, Remy? Put us all out of our misery.
The answer is 3,835. So James has got it.
Well done, James.
Well, the problem is he wasn't in the quiz.
However, the one closest to would be James Cummins.
Yay!
As well, so James is winning.
Mick Sullivan was the closest.
Mick, you weren't in the run-ins because you were appalling.
During the game.
Okay.
That's cheating.
Right, let's move on with the show, shall we? We wanted to talk a little bit about loan signings because it kind of goes off the squad rotation that we were talking about. Now, when we look at loan signings in this division, we were at Hampton and Richmond against Harlow for the FA Trophy, and Mick, we talked a little bit about it then last weekend when we said that Hampton used the loan signings really cleverly, and Alan Dowson, who joined us on the show, said, that's just something, he gets a little bit of criticism for it, but he tries to use it to its maximum, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, he's the ultra. He's done it so many times, and it's paid off for him. Dowson's top lad. He's as honest as a day long. He tells it as he sees it. And obviously I drilled him quite hard on that day because I knew there was a little bit of supporter unrest, not really happy that, because sometimes supporters can't identify with players when they're just seeing these loan guys come in and out, and it rather takes away. Supporters want to sort of identify with players and feel they're part of the club, Dom, which I'm sure Horsham, particularly as you've got a good band of support down there that support you behind the scenes. Definitely, they sing quite a lot. They're what I call some true supporters, but they would rather be identifying with players as opposed to just players coming in. Now, it might differ at Conference South, or was it Vanderarma South, whatever they might want to call it now. That might be a little bit different level where you might be able to get away with it. Maybe they don't identify with their players so much as you go up the pyramid a bit higher. But me as well, Douse has been the master at it. He's been brilliant at it, and he said what it was. And he's saying it's hard to find that diamond now to come up and play. You know what I mean? Otherwise, they haven't got the finances to bring the ready-made player in.
And Dom, for you, loan signings this season?
I'm a big fan this season. Haven't been in the past, but as I said, we've still got. I think we've still got 3 on loan. One from Worthing, one from Burgess Hill. Maybe it's just the 2 now. But yeah, we've got. We've had all sorts out on loan for us, and it's been a massive help for a club that we're homeless at the moment and haven't got reserves, haven't got a 21s, haven't got an 18s. So when you're a bit short like that, it's a big help. I think Walton Casuals have done well in our league. They've got 2 lads from Maidenhead, which I think are probably in their top 2 players really, and they could help them get in the playoffs. They've got a couple of very good young lads that have been loaned out from Maidenhead. So yeah, I mean, it seems to work.
Do you not sort of delve down as opposed to, obviously you're going slightly higher with your connections in Sussex with the Bostik Prem guys in Chappers and
Hinch.
Hinch, yeah. But do you not, I mean, you know a heck of a lot about the Sussex County football coming from it yourself.
Yep.
Is there not players at that level that you feel can do a job? I always think there are.
I think there is players in the Sussex League that can do a job. I think the problem you have is a lot of them are very much set in their ways in terms of the league they want to be in. A lot of them like being big fishes. A lot of them probably don't want to do the travel. It's strange, the Kent League. They seem to come out of that and want to kick on. There's quite a lot of travel at the moment for us sort of South Coast teams in the Ryman South. So yeah, I mean, I probably sign a third of our players from out of the county league, but the very top ones, a lot of them are commanding good money in that league, and they don't have to travel, and they're half an hour from every game, and so it's quite hard to drag them out of that level. I think it's a bit different combined counties in the Kent League, but I think in the Sussex League, a lot of them seem relatively happy to play that level.
James, you've been having a little look in to loan signings across the Bostik leagues.
I have really, and there's one guy that's really stood out for me, and it's a gentleman that Mick has mentioned at Leatherhead, and that's Liam Nash from Gillingham, and he's really made an impression since he's joined the Tanners. I think he's got 6 goals so far this season for them, and he's made an immediate impact. I think this is the thing with loan players, and they come in and they do make an immediate impact. I'm going to use a couple of examples also from Woking, because Woking are a good example of using the loan system to their good effect. From a young age in particular, a lot of these guys who come into this club are players who are looking to develop themselves within the lower leagues for their future career. For example, Nathan Baxter, who's a goalkeeper at Woking, he's from Chelsea. He's only 18 years old, and Regan Charles Cook from Charlton, they're both under 20. And they've already made a lot of appearances. Baxter's made 22, Charles Cook has made 16 appearances and established themselves as first-team players within Woking. It's the same thing within the Bostik League as well. You will always get players that will want to develop themselves within leagues such as the Bostik League. And it is a really good example of getting younger players the experience that they need. And that to say, do they try and make themselves into players that are recognised by the fans? Some do, some don't. But a lot of players do, in particular with Nash, an example at Leatherhead, he has already done so. So it can have a positive effect, bringing in young players on loan to make a difference for that team, for their development as well.
And Dom, I wanted to ask you about this loan process, and I'm sure if anyone's listening that's a real football nut will want to know, how does it work and what do you have to do? Who does it? Do you just pick a phone up and phone somebody you know, or is there a directory, or have you watched somebody? Has somebody told you that the clubs phone you and say there's somebody that needs to go out on loan?
All of them, basically. I mean, you sort of mine your contacts, people you know. There's quite often sort of emails going out of clubs further up the pyramid that want to get players out on loan or transfer. Word of mouth. I mean, there's a whole host of different ways to pull players in, I suppose. But mostly, I suppose it's pulling favours from people you know, speaking to them about players you maybe notice that aren't getting enough minutes, and relying on sort of other clubs not necessarily needing that player or wanting that player to get some development. We've got various different ones. We've got one or two that needed fitness, needed game time, and we've got a young lad from Worthing who's 17 who just needs to be playing. Needs to be playing to develop. So different reasons why their parent clubs have let us have them, but all of them have worked out well for us, really.
And Mick, have you worked with managers that perhaps have really disliked the loan system and thought that it disrupts teams?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a lover of it personally, and I don't think Hayden's a particular lover of it either. But obviously it works for some and not for others. But I just highlight what Don was saying, agents get involved as well. So, bring them into the equation. The amount of agents that I know in the non-league game now is actually incredible. You think agents being involved with League One, League Two and the Premiership, there are so many agents now that are involved at non-league level, Bostik level. It's incredible. And, if you know a good agent, I know Lee at Kingstonian knows a few agents, and he's reaped the rewards of knowing a good agent, believe it or not. That is a good contact. If you've got a good agent, some are mercenary and some are just looking at it for themselves, but there are some good agents out there that actually put some good kids the right way. And perhaps that might be something that, Dom, you might want to be thinking about. Getting a contact of a good agent is worthy of something.
I was just going to ask actually, Dom. I was just going to say about the players. Is it detrimental to younger players from your own club if you're going to bring in lots of loan players?
We're not in the position or we haven't got the luxury to have players coming through from 18s or whatever, because otherwise I'd gladly play them. I think it's an easy. They're hungry. They're keen. They don't cost as much. There's so many good things to having youth players at a football club, but because of our predicament at the moment, it's just not an option. When we did get some of these loan boys in, we were threadbare in terms of numbers. But to be fair, they've all been great lads. I don't think I think they get on with our boys. I don't think I think you can get all sorts of different types of loans. Some are people just trying to get them off their wage budget, and I think you sometimes get a a different player maybe then. But the guys we've got in are ones we either knew about or have got, on a good recommendation. So they've fitted in well. So we haven't had any issues with, any conflict internally there. I think everyone's just mucked in. It's the nature of our team, to be fair. We're not really that sort of team. Anyone who comes into the club is welcomed.
And James, as a supporter, I'm looking. We mentioned Woking a few times tonight, but do you think supporters can get a little bit distanced from the club if there's too many loan players?
I think that's yes and no, to be honest. I think as long as the players that are brought in on loan actually produce a decent result or produce where the club want to go to, I think fans can easily warm to loan players, especially if they actually produce form in the way that they move up the league. Again, Woking have had years and years and years of experience of relying on loan players to produce the performances on the pitch. I can list the name of loanees from Woking: Jack Marriott, Chris Sharplin, Scott Rendell, Billy Knott. These players have gone on to play for different clubs, some at a higher level, but are held in high regard at the clubs. So I think in some respect, a lot of fans will feel very happy to get loan players in, and even more so if they perform rightly for the club. Because, like I said, earlier on in the discussion, I think a lot of players that come into the club are initially very happy to come in because they want to further their career and develop their career by playing within a league where they will be playing week in, week out. And you've seen probably the same with that as well, Nick.
Probably another debate for another time, but I'm always curious about all these academies from the Football League to the Premiership. They've got all these lads that are never ever going to get a start for their first teams. They're just twiddling their thumbs now. And when you want to put them into the real non-league game, which is where I think a lot of these youngsters should be blooded.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get what real life is what about, and they're not the most perfect pitches you play on, and it can only hone your skills so much better playing on a bumpy pitch here and there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I think that these bigger clubs should allow their players to come down, because I do think there's a set rule that they won't let them go down below Bostik Premier, some people, to loan them out. I've known some that won't let their players go low. So they wouldn't let them go to a Bostik South or Bostik North side, but they'd let them go to a Bostik Premier side. Now, I just don't see it. They need to be grounded, and, even if they're there for a month to learn their trade and understand what real football's about, that it ain't the pretty passing game. It is about you're going to get an elbow and kicked up in the air, and it is going to be a bobble here and there. These boys have got to learn fast, because I think the ones that I've seen come down from these higher clubs and be loaned out just can't cope with the facilities that they end up playing with, and they need to get the proper footballing mindset.
Agreed.
Yeah, we could debate about this all day. Official BOTN, if you want to get your thoughts in, and we might revisit it between now and 9 this evening. Right now, we're going to play Super Sub. If you've not heard this before, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it, and you can play along wherever you are. And hopefully, it's a very good evening to Chris Haig, the Merstham goalkeeper. Chris, good evening to you.
Hi, mate. You all right?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Former East Grinstead Town, St Albans City and Watford under-21s. I hope I've got that right, Chris.
Yeah, you got it bang on, mate.
How's the season going so far with Merstham?
Yeah, it's been mixed so far. We've got a new squad together, and always when you get new players together, it's been a mix. But overall, it's been good. Personally, it's been good, and as a team, we're slowly getting there.
Were there any expectations set out at the beginning of the season of what you wanted to achieve this year?
I mean, I think most people looking at the league wouldn't think Merstham would be wanting to achieve much, but on the inside, it was just try and stay in touch with the top 5 for the new year, and then see if we can push on from there. Really.
Now, the most important question is: have you heard our feature Super Sub before?
I've had some whispers, yeah.
Okay, well, there's an official leaderboard and everything for players.
No, I saw that.
And the time to beat is 50 seconds if you want to go to the top of the leaderboard. Basically, all you've got to do is substitute the correct answer with something that's wrong. It's all you've got to do. You've got to substitute the correct answer for a wrong answer. It sounds simple, but I think it's tough under pressure. So 50 seconds to beat, and you got to beat Brannon Daly of Horsham if you want to get yourself to the top of the leaderboard. Feeling confident?
I'm a bit nervous, yeah, but I reckon I'll do better than Aaron. He's coming on.
Just to yeah, he's next. Just to make you feel a little bit more nervous. Let's we'll just put a little bit of tension in the background. Okay, we've got the stopwatch ready to go, and your time starts now. Name a player who is a Ballon d'Or winner.
Peter Crouch.
Where is the World Cup 2018 being hosted?
Asia.
Wembley Stadium is located in which direction of London?
West.
Merstham manager Hayden shares his surname with what winged vertebrae?
Snake.
How many? Can I accept that answer? We'll do it. We'll move on. How many substitutions are you allowed in a league match?
7.
Finish the team name. You're not. That's fine. Yeah. Finish the team name. Crystal
Wanderers.
Spurs play in what colour for their home games?
Red.
The position of a goalkeeper is commonly referred to as between the...
corner flag.
You'll Never Walk Alone is the catch line of which football club?
Everton.
What do you purchase on the gate turnstile in order to gain access to a football match?
Seats.
And stop the clock. I love that last one. You could have literally had absolutely anything. Absolutely
I
anything.
know.
So you're purchasing a seat on your way in. We always like to have a little look at the answers just to see what you came up with, and then of course we'll give you your time. So the World Cup's being held in Asia. Peter Crouch is the Ballon d'Or winner.
Wow.
Wow. That would have been good. Crystal Wanderers, who had in there Spurs playing red. The position of the goalkeeper is commonly referred to as between the corner flag. And I loved the best answer out of the whole lot was You'll Never Walk Alone is, of course, the catch line of Everton, according to you, which I'm sure Everton fans will absolutely love. You did it in 1 minute and 5 seconds.
That's terrible.
I wouldn't say it was terrible. I think you're in 4th. How many people are in it? 6. Okay, we're still Champions League, isn't it?
It took a while to recite me the questions, though.
Chris, don't start all that old lark, mate. Brannon Daly is still top of the old table, ex-Merstham goalkeeper, but Hayden Snake, that's an interesting one. Hayden Snake, he ain't going to let you away with that, Chris. Hayden Snake, there'd be some people putting their own spin on that one.
They might be, but that's not what I'm
Okay, well, listen, thanks ever so much for playing, and of course we wish you all the best for the rest of the season at Merstham, Chris.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, and I hope it's a good show.
No problem. Right, that's first one down for our super sub, and we're going to be back with Aaron Hopkinson playing after this. We were going to take a slight break before Aaron Hopkinson came on, but according to our play-out system, we're not going to take that advert break, and we're going to continue and crack on. Mick, I would love you to have a go at this 1 week, I have to say, because you sit there while Super Sub's happening, and you look like a man that's absolutely intrigued by what's going on.
I think we should throw a manager's name in each week. I think it's really good. I think that is a brilliant one to bring that in for Chris. Excellent. It'd be interesting to see how Aaron might answer that one.
Okay, I think we are going to take a break now. No, we're not. We're not going to take a break. We will take a break in a moment. Dom, would you like to have a go?
Yeah, it's a bit over my head, that one. No, I'm supposed to
give it a try.
Yeah.
Give it a go. Give it a whirl at least.
Give it a crack.
We will get plenty more players on. It seems to be something that is taking off amongst players.
While we got a little bit of break, let's give a little shout to Hawley Town. Obviously, we don't cover a lot of Step 5 as much as we'd like to, and I know we will do. The simple fact, Hawley Town have done really well in the FA Vars, and I'm really pleased for them. Glyn Stevens done an amazing job down there. It's a very friendly club, and they're playing Kingstonian tomorrow night in the Surrey Senior, and I know Kingstonian are bringing a strong side down. So those that are local that want to see a Step 5 side in a cup competition again, go and see them tomorrow night.
Right, I've been told reliably that we can now take a break. Here we go. Okay. Okay, it turns out we're not taking a break. We don't want to take these advert breaks at the moment, so never mind. I think they just want to keep me on doing a little bit more work.
Get Aaron on.
Yeah, let's get Aaron on. We'll get Aaron Hopkinson on. And Aaron, very good evening to you. We're really pleased to speak to you, I have to say.
How you doing, guys? You all right?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Tell us about the season and how it's going.
I've been injured most of the season, to be honest. I played my first 10 minutes last week, and then I played about 20 minutes, half hour. Well, I thought it was meant to be 20 minutes, half hour Saturday, but went to extra time in the FA Vars, which I didn't know it was extra time. So yeah, I haven't played. I've just played a couple of games, and that's been it for me this year so far.
And have you set yourself any personal targets now that you're back in?
Obviously, 8 months out has been a long time. So targets really just to play as many games as I can now between now and the end of the season, and whatever comes of that comes of that. But just to play games. Obviously, 8 months out is a long time. I'm just happy to be back out there, to be honest.
Aaron Smith-Sullivan here. Really pleased to see you back playing football. You're a fantastic winger. I ain't going to big you up too much, but I think Dom's going to be looking for someone of your ilk, so I suspect he might send someone down Eastbourne Town in about, I reckon, 2 months. Do you think you'll be fit by then?
It'll only be the third time I signed you, innit?
Yeah, no, I've played with Dom a couple of times before.
You're all right, mate.
But yeah, no, yeah, I'll hopefully be back fit. Yeah, give it a couple of months, and I'll be back firing hopefully.
Or Hayden even might have you back.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I spoke to Hayden the other week. I still speak to Hayden. Good guy.
Yeah.
So Aaron, have you heard much about Super Sub? Did you just hear it on the show?
No, not really, to be honest. Nick's given me a brief description, so that's about it. I just heard Chris's one just now, just to try and get an idea of what's going on. So he's given it the big one before, but
yes,
he flopped.
Okay, if you want to be the winner tonight, then you need to beat 1 minute and 4 seconds. If you want to be the winner overall, then you've got to beat 50 seconds.
Okay. Cool.
So we're going to get the clock started. Let's get the clock started, and let's get your question. So you've got to substitute the correct answer for any answer that's not right. Right, we've got the clock ready to go. Your time starts now. Name a player who is a Ballon d'Or winner.
Lewis Dunk.
Where is the World Cup 2018 being hosted?
Serbia.
Wembley Stadium is located in which direction of London?
Southeast.
Merstham manager Hayden shares his surname with what winged vertebrate?
Parrot.
How many substitutions are you allowed in a league match?
26.
Finish the team name. Crystal
Diamonds.
Spurs play in what colour for their home games?
Purple.
The position of the goalkeeper is commonly referred to as between the
net.
You'll Never Walk Alone is the catchline of which football club?
Leatherhead.
What do you purchase on the gate turnstile in order to gain access to a football match?
Apples.
Yeah, very good suggestion. The clocks have stopped. We're going to find out your answers, and we'll also get the time as well. How did you think you got on?
It's harder than you think. It's harder than you think.
You must have thought about the one for Hayden. Parrot, does that mean he repeats stuff?
I don't know.
There's always some sort of snake and parrot are coming out. Paul Hayden.
I didn't know if you asked me the same question, so I didn't actually prepare myself.
My favourite one was Lewis Dunk. What do you think, James? Lewis Dunk for the Ballon d'Or?
Oh, so that's a dead heat. That is. Yeah. I'd put money on that. Lewis Dunk would be a run of the mill for someone like Lionel Messi. And
we can ask Mick Sullivan: did Leatherhead supporters sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" on Sunday?
No, I wish I thought about it. It would have been a good one.
Aaron, I can tell you that also my favourite answer was apples. It would be nice if you go in and get an apple maybe with your ticket. There's an idea for some clubs, and we're going to talk about ticket prices later, so maybe they can throw that in. 58 seconds, you're in third place, so you've won tonight's match. You're in the Champions League spots, and you're in third position. Does that knock Chris out of the Champions League spots? Yeah, it does. So you've just knocked Chris out of the top four.
Yeah, there we go.
Brilliant. Listen, Aaron, thank you ever so much for coming on the show tonight, and good luck for the rest of the season.
No worries, guys. Nice one. Thank you.
Right, we are 100% right now taking our advert break.
You're listening to Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
Times are changing. We now live in a digital world where 9 out of 10 people use the internet to look for local goods and services. Whether in front of a computer at home or on a mobile phone on the go, people expect to find what they want, when they want, quickly and easily. The question is, can your business be found? At Promote UK, we specialise in getting local businesses found online. One highly affordable package will give your business a stunning mobile responsive website, which we guarantee to get to the first page of Google and keep it there. And we take care of everything: copywriting, design, hosting. We even offer unlimited amends all year round for no extra charge. So, whilst you're busy focusing on your business, we're busy making sure it can be found online all year round. Start your Google Page One journey today with a free online health check by visiting PromoteUKLimited.com. Promote UK. We're really good at what we do.
From Premiership to Playground, MH Goals has everything you need for an outstanding football match, including aluminium and steel football goals, nets, line marking machines, team shelters, boot wipers, and much more. Buy with confidence direct from the manufacturer with great prices available across our whole range of sports equipment. What's more, we offer fantastic discounts for all FA affiliated clubs. We pride ourselves on British manufacturing. We make all our football goals here in the UK and conform to the latest British and European safety standards. So call MH Goals direct on 01502 711 298 or visit our online store at mhgoals.com.
Are you a budding footballer sitting your GCSEs next summer, wondering what to do next? Want to play football while studying for qualifications that will get you into university? Dorking Wanderers Football Club are now recruiting for their football academy for 2018-2019. Based at their brand new state-of-the-art Meadowbank Stadium, you'll be playing in the National Conference Youth Alliance against the best clubs in the area each week, as well as the prestigious FA Youth Cup. You'll be studying BTEC Level 3 qualifications, equivalent to 3 A-levels, alongside professional coaching from our UEFA qualified coaches. For information on trials and open evenings, visit dorkingwanderers.com/academy or email academy@dorkingwanderers.com.
Head to backofthenet.south.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back to your favourite non-league football show, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Back of the Net, where it matters.
So welcome back to the final part of the show tonight. We're going to be talking about ticket pricing next. And it's a really interesting topic as the FA Cup has come round. Some clubs like to change their ticket pricing for cup competitions. Most importantly, what I have a look at is the ticket prices in the Bostik League. And James, you're a bit of a non-league ground hopper. You must have experienced quite a few different grounds and different ticket prices.
Yeah, I have. Something that's really refreshing about going down to the lower leagues is it's a reasonable price when you go to a Bostik Premier game or you go to a South or a North game. Even some of the clubs in the National League now are chasing £18-20 for a ticket alone just to enter the ground. And if you pay a £5 extra, you could get access to a championship game. But if you go down to the lower leagues, it's refreshing and it's really decent to get a ticket price for £10-12. Dulwich Hamlet are a very good example of that. They attract a massive crowd in, week out, even though they've got issues off the pitch at the moment. And you go to a Bostik Premier League game and they average out at £10-12. So it is good to see that it's competitively priced, reasonably priced as well, so you can get to see decent football week in, week out without having to break the bank in the process.
If we look at the National League in the fifth tier of English football, adult ticket prices vary from £14 for Ebbsfleet to £28 if you want to go and sit in the West Stand Gallery for Leyton Orient. On average, an adult would pay £16.86 to watch a game in the National League with a seat, that is, excluding the £28 anomaly that is paid to sit in that West Stand at Leyton Orient, of course. Prices often vary due to terraces and seat. For example, Eastleigh offer seats for £15 per adult, and standing is £12. Age also, of course, alters things as well. Lots of clubs do the £5 for under 16s, or under 16s go free at Bromley. It's just £5 at Woking. £3 at Sutton and Chester. Under 12, 7s and 5s are common age brackets as well, to reduce prices. In the Bostik leagues, interesting, in the Bostik Premier South and North, matchday tickets are usually around about £10, and again, prices do vary. Season tickets depend on the club. Billericay's season tickets were £200 and Margate season tickets £150, so make of that what you will. Lewis, who are in the Bostik South, also charged £200 for their season ticket. Interesting, I guess at managerial level you don't really get involved in this, but how clubs work that ticking price out, and is it based on their fan base?
No, to be fair, I have, and I know Hayden has, and because we always want to do well, we get involved with our clubs. Wherever I've been, I've definitely got involved with the club behind the scenes as well, and Merston's that type of club that will allow you to get involved, and we've talked about this on many occasions through the board and everything, Hayden, and we've had big discussions on it. And yes, Dulwich done the great initiative by doing the non-league day and letting to pay what you'd like, and what did they gain out of that? 1,000 supporters almost. And my theory is as well, I'm talking Bostik League, can you bring them down even more? And so the normal punter can get in, because it's even 10 and 12 quid is tight in this day and age. Even there, can you let them go in if they bring a youngster with them? And because I always think they're going to buy something to eat, a burger and something like, so what you lose on the turnstile you make up on the drink or the eating side of it, and make it a little bit more make it more attractive that it's £6 to get into a game, when I know people will spend something to drink and eat.
If you compare that to the Football League, how does it compare? The cheapest matchday ticket in League 2 is £13 at Wycombe Wanderers, which is actually less than many of the National League club tickets, and only a few more quid than the Bostik sides. However, Colchester United also in League 2 demand £29 for a matchday ticket. The cost for League 2 tickets most commonly between £20 and £25. Colchester are quite a unique club though, as you can buy a ticket for £21.75 online that includes a pie, a cup of tea and a programme. James Cummings, talk me through that idea.
That's a great idea. I think if you add a package in, and this is something that Mick was saying earlier on, I think that's a big incentive, because again, if you add up the prices of your ticket, your programme, your pie, a scarf if you want to buy one, or a shirt on the off chance, it will cost you a fortune, to be fair. And I think it's a good idea, and it's a good incentive that should be embraced by other clubs, not just in the Bostik League, but just in football in general, that could make it more appealing for people who want to watch different football and want to watch their local team, and add it in as a package. I think, again, Dulwich Hamlet, if you go in, yes, it's £10 to £12 to go and buy your ticket, but I think they have a thing where it's you buy a grass-fed burger and it's £7 for a burger, and that's a lot of money in that respect. What do you make of that, Dom?
I like burgers, so I'd probably pay it.
It is a very good burger, by the way. I have it on good authority. It is a very, very good burger. But
yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
A lot of money.
We just had a tweet in that's saying Billericay do offer money off if you buy it by the 1st of July. So early incentives, something else as well. In League 1, there are also blurred lines as far as ticket and pricing, as fans pay between £20 and £25 roughly for matchday tickets. Quite a leap from the Bostik pricing, of course, you'd imagine. In the Championship, the average matchday ticket is £20.58, and the average most expensive matchday ticket is £35.96, which is a huge jump in this tier. Season tickets can range anything between about 350 quid to 588. The Premier League ticket pricing, of you'd imagine, is quite high, and prices across the league average £32. They can rise anything from 50 to 60. Tickets, though, generally expensive. West Ham is the cheapest with £289, whilst for a season ticket, whilst the most expensive is Arsenal. £891 is the smallest that you can get an Arsenal season ticket for. It's interesting to have a look whether this actually affects attendances. In the Bostik League, attendance is dependent on the size of the club more than the matchday ticket. So matchday tickets are usually around £10. For instance, Dulwich Hamlet's average attendance is 1,504, and this season their ticket prices are roughly £11. Wingate and Finchley, meanwhile, have an average attendance of 141 and charge people £12 for tickets. A higher level ticketing pricing can affect attendance figures. It's really interesting when you look at this. A lot of clubs as well, we haven't mentioned, is a pay what you want scheme that happens quite a bit as well.
I've got something on this. I'm wondering whether the Bostik League have thought about it when they have their management committees, whether they could do an initiative for the Bostik League only, that they ask the clubs, their member clubs, that they charge on a particular Saturday or a day where they charge a minimum amount of money and they get maybe a free hamburger, because I think there's a lot of disillusioned Football League and Premiership supporters that are a growing army of the non-league game now, and I think that particularly because we're about Bostik and we're all about non-league football, that we can get that initiative going where, and it would have to come from the top of our Bostik League guys like Nick Robinson to bring an initiative in, ask the member clubs for one day to do a cut price deal, include a drink or hamburger, and see if we can entice just a few more people with that big initiative. I know there's a non-league day and we don't want to make too much, but I do think there's a lot of floating support that could come down to non-league.
You get the bug, don't you, in non-league? I think when you go to games, you start to see, you see the same people at games, but I don't admit you're probably the same as me. I go and watch games all the time, and there's always people there that you know.
Yeah. Social. It's social.
It's a nice place, and the kids can run around. They're not just stuck in a seat. They can meet the players. I think it's a great thing, and I can't get my head around pro football really. It doesn't really do much for me in general.
Yeah, agreed with that entirely. Yeah, massively agree with that. I'm the same.
I wonder if, when we look at the likes of Sutton that have 3G pitches, obviously going to be one in Dorking, there's quite a few. They always have the kids on before playing. And we saw this, and it amazed me, it still does, that when Sutton played Arsenal and Leeds United in the Cup, you had kids playing football on before, just half an hour or so before perhaps the pitch was left for the players. You must get more people then interested. We saw it at Worthing, where they had the mini soccer school that was on just before the game. Surely you then get those kids and parents much more engaged with what's going on in the afternoon.
I think definitely. You look at Worthing. Worthing's one that obviously I go and watch Worthing a lot, and their gates have rocketed really since they put the kids. They've got like a sort of an academy type thing, but they've also got sort of a stream for kids all ages, and it's a buzz around the club. The kids, they all want shirts. They've all got their own favourite players. And it creates a club atmosphere, and I think that's the way forward, isn't it? Surely it's got to be.
And just a quick one: if you get a good marketing guy that comes into your club that's good on media, and I'm going to have to give him a shout. What Alfie Gates done at Leatherhead is absolutely fantastic, and that's just Alfie. There are plenty of other non-league clubs. If you get the right person doing the right thing and putting yourself about and giving all these ideas out, look at what following Leatherhead have gained this season. Yes, they've got some quality players on show, but it's about putting initiatives out there. It's getting themselves out in the public, in the media, and hopefully our show will hopefully help that as well.
Yeah, I've had a tweet in from a Kingstonian fan. He says that anything around £10 for him, £155 to watch the K's play for the season, and he's quite happy with that. So that's not a bad price at all. One of the things I was going to say was when I was younger, and this goes back to playing at Wokingham Town, who were, I can't quite remember what league they were in, but we're talking sort of Bostik level, maybe just below. And I always used to remember the kids got to go there on a Sunday and we all played on the pitch. They'd divide it up with small goals and we'd have a mini soccer on the grass pitch. Now, that was back in the day where people weren't bothered in playing in mud. Obviously, now that would never happen. Can you imagine mini soccer on the Merston pitch on a Sunday, Mick?
Well, I think you'd have Hayden running around behind them, shoveling up stuff and sort of like, he'd be having a nervous breakdown, I think.
Just a big mention to Crawley Town, Dulwich Hamlet. They introduced their first Pay What You Want schemes this season, and they were really successful in drawing in more fans. Also, FC United offered Pay What You Want for season tickets to make them more affordable for fans, and you really have to applaud clubs that are doing things like that. And that goes back to your point, Mick, of saying that if you can get somebody maybe in the club that's got a few new ideas for marketing, then you might well, take the club to places and get new fans in. And I do really like the idea as well of buying a ticket online and getting a pie and a cup of tea and a programme. Would that suit you, Rem?
That would suit you, because every time we go to a ground, before we've even set up, it's when we're getting food, when we get the burgers in. So
somebody did mention actually about keeping some sort of chart across the season for the burgers at grounds, where we could see which one of all the clubs we visit has the best burger.
Can I add that? Hampton and Richmond, most definitely at top of the range.
Lewis used to be good.
Range.
I think they've changed now, but they were good as well.
And Dulwich Hamlet,
just
£7.
Just a show of hands in this studio, who would be up for trying burgers every week for the chart? Yeah, I think everyone.
Yeah, I'm up for that. Definitely up for that.
Drop them to games.
Okay. Right, final thing on the show tonight, we're going to have a look at some of the fixtures. Before we preview the Bostik League fixture at the weekend, we're going to have a look at some of those fixtures that are happening in and around the leagues. We're going to start in the Bostik North as Heybridge Swifts take on Haringey. 1-1 home draw for Heybridge in their last game. And for Haringey, they had a 3-2 win as well in their last match. Currently position 14th. For Heybridge, they've got a lot of games in hand. They've only played 10 games. They're on 24 points. We talked about them a little bit earlier on, and we go and see Haringey against Leyton Orient in the FA Trophy. It's going to be it's a match-up of the two teams this year that have stood out in the Bostik North in the cup competitions.
That's definitely, and I think Tom would have the troops rally for this one. He's not a loser, that guy, and we were there. He went out. They knocked him out of the FA Cup, didn't they? We were there to watch that game. Two good teams from Bostik North again. Great advert. Two different people. Where is it? On the plastic pitch? Who's at home?
Heybridge are at home.
Heybridge is on grass, is it? Well, yeah, I'm not so sure. That might not suit Haringey, but it should be a good competitive game of football. Really enjoyed it when we watched them last. Really enjoyed it.
The North's not really my... I can talk about the Prem and the South, but
we'll bring you back in a moment. James can talk about anything across the non-leagues. We've seen a little bit of Heybridge and Haringey, and I know you're looking forward to their game against Leyton Orient as well, which is going to be a fascinating one.
Oh, that'll be a massive game. I think Haringey will go into the FA Trophy first round match with a lot of optimism, really, because Leyton Orient have had a real reality check going into the Vanarama National. Of course, they were seen as one of the real big form teams to go straight back into the league again, but of course there's been so much trouble with Leyton Orient off the pitch that's really affected them on the pitch this season. So Haringey will be going into that game with real venom, thinking we can get a result with that, and I think they'll have one eye on that game in particular. I think they'll have one eye on the cup game, so maybe with their league match they might be thinking against the cup.
Yeah, and that's a good point actually that James made. That's a big day for Haringey against Leyton Orient, of course, who are really struggling financially. Just to point out, the last point about that game is that Heybridge have played 10, as I mentioned, and Haringey have played 17 in the league, which is a whopping amount to have played more because of those cup competitions. Right, Don, we can bring you back in now because another game that we're going to have a look at that's happening tomorrow is Walton Casuals against Sittingbourne, and it's 8th against 7th. They both played a similar amount of games, 21 and 20, 34 points for Walton Casuals, 36 for Sittingbourne, and it is the Casuals that are in the better form. They've got 2 wins and a draw in their last 3. It's a win and 2 losses for Sittingbourne. Who do you fancy in this one?
We've played Walton Casuals 3 times, beaten once, drawn against them, lost against them. Good young side. If they're at home, they're on the 3G, they'll bop it about a bit. Sittingbourne were one of my tips as one of the Kent sides this year to do well. They've got quite a lot of firepower, and they've got all sorts of different ways they can play, to be fair. So it'll be a tough game. I think both teams will definitely score. As to who will win that one, tricky one. I think it's at home, maybe Walton.
And Sittingbourne, well, you know both these teams, Mick, and Sittingbourne, they've been a surprise package this year.
They have. Nick Davis has done a fantastic job down there the last 3 years. They're both young managers, and he's a young lad, and so's Nick. You know what I mean? They're just out of... They probably still could both play. You know what I mean? So good young coaches doing great jobs at where they are. You know, maybe Walton Casuals will have the sort of nod because it is on their 3G pitch and they know how to play it. But Sittingbourne are defensively very tight and a very hard-working side. So, you know, I reckon Sittingbourne could go there and grind a draw out, definitely. But a good competitive game with 2 good young lads managing them.
Leiston against Enfield in the Bostik Premier Division's a fascinating encounter. Leiston have struggled of late. They're in 8th position. Enfield in 16th. We watched Enfield and really like the way they play, but they've been struggling a little bit in the league.
We love their manager, don't we? He's a character like Alan Dowson. We like those type of people in football. I do anyway, and he got... I was quite surprised in Enfield's form the last 4 or 5 games. They've not really done much. And then all of a sudden they go and beat Dulwich. So that's quite surreal. Whether he's had a few injuries of key personnel that maybe have just come back to beat Dulwich, or whether the players were up for a big game as opposed to some of the other boys. But, and looking at Leiston when we watched them against Worthing a couple of weeks ago, looks like they're trying to get their act together now. Again, all these Bostik games are so tight. I couldn't call either way on that one, if I'll be honest about it. If Enfield were at home, I'd probably call Enfield. But
I thought Leiston were really good last year. At Christmas time, I thought they'd potentially win it. They were flying, and obviously they got a great striker in Blake, who knows how to bag goals. Although I think he's been a bit quieter this year. But yeah, I haven't seen Enfield this year, so I can't comment on them. But I would have thought it's a long old journey down there.
I just want to go back on that, actually, because I just think Matt Blake is a fantastic forward. We've talked about him on many occasions, but I think he's so well known now that he's getting marked out of the game. And then who else is going to do it for Leiston? I don't think there's a natural other goal scorer.
They had Muir last year, didn't they? I'm pretty certain they had Muir, who played sort of as a bit of a foil for him, and he's obviously done well this year. I think he's top goal scorer in the league, but he was down there last year, and they worked quite well together. And perhaps, like you said, everyone knows him now, and he's probably a bit of an individual. It's not so easy, is it?
And just looking at the form at the moment for both teams, it surprises me that Enfield are that low down in the league at the moment, because like you just said, they're a very good side. They have got quality in their team. But like what Mick said, it's so tight in every single game in the Bostik League so far. But that big win against Dulwich Hamlet is a massive incentive for Enfield, and I think it could probably kickstart their season, to be fair. I know it's a difficult test going away to Leiston, but of course, like we said, Matt Blake, main man there for that team, but he hasn't really been on form so far this season, so I think Enfield could really capitalise on that. So I think it's going to be an away win for Enfield, I think they're going to do all right.
Haringey Borough have free season tickets, and after Saturday's performance I was tempted to throw mine on the pitch, says Liam. This is input into that.
Wow.
Last game that we've chosen is Burgess Hill Town take on Harlow Town. Harlow have had it tough of late, but did manage to get that win against Worthing. That's our feature game in the Bostik League show that was out a little bit earlier on. If you've not watched that, go and check it out. And Burgess Hill Town really having an up and down season, pretty much as they did last year, Mick.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm surprised that they are where they are this season. I think like Chappers has sort of had a couple of tough seasons at this Bostik Prem, and I'm quite surprised because he has some decent boys in there and he keeps a bit of continuity going as well, and their pitch is a good home pitch to play on. They probably know how to play that slope. So I'm very surprised that they go up and down. I'd be interested to hear from Chappers one day what his opinions are of why they're struggling, or maybe you might know because you probably speak to Ian.
I spoke to him last week, and he's just calling out individual errors, just basic mistakes that are costing them games. I think they're scoring lots of goals, but they're leaking the other end. I think he put something in the paper the other day that he needs to score 3 a game to get a win, which is probably a little bit similar to us in some respects. We let in too many goals, but I think that's where he's falling down. I don't think they've got too many problems going forward, but they just seem to be making mistakes that are costing them goals.
And I think, to be fair, with Burgess Hill being at home, obviously Harlow are a different prospect at their ground, as we spoke about on many occasions on the plastic pitch as well. Very volatile place to go and play. And Burgess Hill got a nice big hill to run up and down. So
yeah,
I'm
they
sure
know how to play it.
Yeah, I'm sure they should know how to play it by now. Yeah.
Right, let's turn our attention to the Bostik League show for next weekend, which sees Staines Town go up against Billericay. They are right up there with Folkestone and Victor as the two form sides in the division. Staines have lost 1 of their last 6. That was a 2-0 defeat to Margate. Billericay are unbeaten in their last 6 and with just 1 draw to Needham Market. The rest of them are wins, and they don't concede many goals either. It's going to be a really good game. Drax Hippolyte, you know very well, Mick, always has well-drilled size. He came in last year, had a bit of a difficult run, but went on a really big unbeaten run, but a lot of draws. And he did say this season he hoped they could do something at the top of the table, and they're certainly doing that.
Yeah. First of all, I don't know Drax very well, but at the end of the day, I've seen his teams play on many occasions, and what he has got is got good contact tracks at a higher level that he can bring in, and he has done so. And I think he come in. I don't know if he come in at the start of the season last year or whatever, but he needed a good full season, and he's done it. He's really done well this year. I mean, are we likely to see a 0-0 draw against two prolific goal scorers? I doubt it. So I'm really hoping that people sort of tune into us, because I think we're going to see a lot of goals come Saturday. I think there's going to be something like 2 or 3 goals either side.
Mick Sullivan predicting a high-scoring game.
Yep.
Dom, these are two sides that you look up to in the division.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think, as I keep saying, I think Billericay is just about them every game, really, with the quality they've got. 9 times, maybe 19 times out of 20, they're going to win. They'll find a way to win. They'll make changes that could win them the game. But yeah, I mean, that one looks like a tight one. It looks like it could be a harder game.
What do you reckon, Dom, on this? I've got a theory about this. The style of play that Billericay play, which is very long ball in behind, and hopefully Harry don't take offence to that, or Glenn. It is a very direct style of football with very willing forwards that don't overly play. And I think it will help them in the long run, because when you get to these pitches come January and February where they're boggy, they're not good, good for playing, then I think that type of football becomes even more effective.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what's going to get them over the line, because it's not overly pleasing to the eye, but I think they get away with it is because supporters just like teams that win.
Yeah.
There's going to be a few connoisseurs that say, no, I don't believe that. I want to see a passing connoisseurs game of football. But ultimately, supporters want teams to win.
Yeah. And James, you're going to join us on Saturday, I think, as well, for the big top-of-the-table clash, and very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, massively looking forward to seeing the Billericay story create a new chapter. And like what Mick was just saying there, it is very interesting to see the long ball strategy that both Glenn and Matt use. And but Staines are a very decent side in very good form, and it will be a really close encounter on Saturday. Hopefully, like it was in the Hendon Dulwich game, that was a superb game. Hopefully, we get a repeat again at Staines on Saturday.
Final word of the show to Dom. Horsham take on East Grinstead Town on Saturday. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we're playing well at the moment. We've got a Senior Cup game tomorrow night, but yeah, we're in relatively good form. The boys have been really good over the last 2 months, and we've not dropped too many points. So yeah, at the moment we're looking forward to our football. It's going well at the moment. So long may that continue. But obviously East Grinstead are battling for points down there, and as I said at the start of the game, start of tonight, you're never quite sure what sort of team is coming out from East Grinstead, because he has quite a high turnover of young lads. So you're never quite sure what you're going to play against. But yeah, we're up for it.
My thanks to Dom, and best of luck for the game on Saturday. Thanks to Mick Sullivan, as always, our team, Remy, Luke, Dara, James in the background, and James Cummins for joining us today, and he'll be here on Saturday. If you've missed any of tonight's show, don't forget you can listen again from tomorrow evening. We'll put it up on our YouTube channel. Just search Back of the Net if you're not already subscribed. And of course, the Bostik League show went out today because of those FA Cup games yesterday. It went out today, and it's extended highlights of Worthing against Harlow, and that is a game you really don't want to miss. Plenty of drama in that one. You can view that right now. Next week's Bostik League show on Saturday is a cracker at the top of the table, and as we mentioned, it sees Staines Town go up against Billericay. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Back of the Net, powered by Promote UK. We're really good at what we do. Head to backoftheNetSouth.co.uk tomorrow morning for video highlights and full match reaction of today's games. Back of the Net, where